Hello, everyone. It is Felicia Bender, the Practical Numerologist. Today, we are blazing through three main points. If I were to choose three pieces of advice for each life path, that is what this video series is all about. So if you're a one life path, or if you know a one life path, these are the three key pieces of advice out of all of them that might serve you well. All right. The first best piece of advice for the one life path is to grow past petty rebellion or lethargy sooner rather than later. This is a primary game changer for you as a one because you're meant to go through this, and yet you can choose to go through it in a couple years, or you can choose to do it all your life. So I would say one of the key pieces of advice is to move through that sooner rather than later. That is hopefully what knowing your numerology will help you with, is to key into that and go, oh, that is actually a key lesson for me. All right, that is piece of advice number one. Number two piece of advice, the best advice for you ones: establish some serious in-depth skill sets. All right. The one has a tendency to kind of fly around on a wing and a prayer sometimes. That's a gift. It really is. And yet, sometimes that can stand in the way of you actually following through with the success that you want, whatever that may be. All right. It could be a relationship, or it could be the entrepreneurial enterprise that you're engaged with. And what I mean by this is that take the time, take the effort to establish those skill sets. I'll use an example, a quick example. I have a friend in the past who, in high school, he's a one life path, and he was super successful in terms of charm and being able to kind of get around things in high school. He was kind of the football hero, that sort of thing. He got out of high school and was lost because that just wasn't cutting it anymore. And he went through a really difficult period where he was depressed, he was drinking too much, he was just floundering. And then what he did is he actually lives in the mountains now, and he decided to, again, a one kind of thing, kind of be a snowboard bum. And then he got really, really good at it, and he began to instruct. So he garnered that skill set in depth, so that not only could he go and snowboard on his own, he could teach other people how to do that. Then on top of that, he began to build an interest in real estate. So then he got his real estate license. He began to do that sort of thing. His family was involved in real estate, but he rebelled against that in some way, which is very one-ish to do, and yet kind of came back on his own terms and established himself within that industry. So that is just an example that I will use to encourage you to establish those serious, in-depth skill sets, and that is going to make your life path one much more gratifying. All right, the last but not least best advice for the one life path is to ride the waves of calculated risks with some humility and be open to constructive criticism. This is a kind of overarching umbrella for the one life path's lifetime. What your soul contracted to do, numerologically speaking, is to be this beautiful, creative, pioneering spirit, and yet also not be belligerent about it, and not be it's only my way or the highway, or to have so much hubris that you get in your own way, that you stand alone as an island, and yet are left alone, right, in that way. So those are the three key pieces of advice that I would have for you or anyone you know who is a one life path.